Did you know that one of the most terrifying serial killers in American history lived for decades as a trusted neighbor, a hardworking baker, and a loving father, while secretly turning the frozen wilderness of Alaska into his own private hunting ground? This is the chilling, detailed account of Robert Christian Hansen, the man who stalked, hunted, and murdered women as if they were wild game. Robert Hansen was born on February 15, 1939, in the small town of Estherville, Iowa. From his earliest years, he felt like an outsider. He struggled with a severe stutter. He was painfully shy and bullied for his acne-scarred face. He grew resentful toward women who ignored or mocked him. This resentment grew into a quiet rage. By his teenage years, Hansen had already shown signs of violence, once setting fire to a school bus garage in a fit of anger. Seeking a fresh start, Hansen enlisted in the U.S. Army Reserve and later moved to Anchorage, Alaska, in the late 1960s. There, he seemed to finally find peace. He married, opened a small bakery, and became a respected member of the community. People knew him as a man who worked hard, attended church, and provided for his wife and 2 children. But behind that polite smile and the warm smell of fresh bread, Robert Hansen was plotting horrors almost too brutal to imagine. Anchorage in the 1970s and early 1980s was a city on the edge of the wild. Just beyond the bustling streets lay endless stretches of untouched forests, icy rivers, and tundra. It was a place where survival required strength, and where crimes could vanish into the wilderness without a trace. Hansen was an expert outdoorsman. He loved the thrill of the chase and collected hunting trophies: moose, bears, wolves. He knew the land as if it were an extension of his own body. Flying his small Piper Super Cub airplane, he could reach isolated spots no one else would dare to enter. For years, he used these skills to perfect a nightmare. Hunting animals was no longer enough. Hansen wanted prey that could scream, beg, and fear for its life. Hansen carefully selected his victims, young women who were new to Anchorage, often sex workers or exotic dancers looking for quick money. Many had no family nearby, and their disappearances rarely made headlines. His method was disturbingly calculated. He approached women with offers of money for a private, photo session or simply a ride. Once in his car, he revealed a gun, handcuffed them, and drove them to his home or an isolated cabin. He sexually assaulted and tortured them for hours or even days. Finally, Hansen would fly them to the remote Knik River Valley or other desolate areas. There, he released them, sometimes naked, always terrified, before hunting them like wild animals. Armed with a high-powered hunting rifle and a knife, Hansen tracked his victims through the thick Alaskan wilderness. He knew every ridge and frozen stream, giving him a deadly advantage. The women, already exhausted and disoriented, had no chance. Investigators later discovered that Hansen killed at least 17 women between 1971 and 1983. Some believe the number could be closer to 30. Many of Hansen's victims remain unidentified to this day. Those who have been named include Sherry Morrow, a 24-year-old dancer, found in a shallow grave near the Knik River; Paula Golding, 30, last seen leaving a nightclub before her body was discovered in a remote gravel pit; and Joanna Messina, whose remains were located in a desolate campground. Their final moments were marked by unimaginable fear. The Alaskan wilderness, breathtaking and silent, became a vast graveyard. For more than a decade, Hansen eluded law enforcement. Anchorage police struggled with limited resources and the transient nature of many victims. But in June 1983, everything changed. Cindy Paulson, a 17-year-old sex worker, managed a daring escape. After being chained and raped in Hansen's home, she convinced him to untie her under the guise of cooperation. When he prepared his plane for another hunting trip, she bolted, barefoot, through the cold streets and flagged down a passing truck driver, who took her to the police. Cindy's detailed account was chilling. She described Hansen's stutter, his collection of hunting trophies, the small airplane, and even the layout of his house. Finally, detectives had a clear suspect. Anchorage authorities, working with the Alaska State Troopers and the FBI, built their case carefully. They placed Hansen under surveillance and obtained a warrant to search his home, car, and airplane. What they found was shocking: a hidden cache of weapons behind a basement wall, jewelry belonging to missing women kept as sick souvenirs, and a detailed aviation map of the Alaskan wilderness marked with tiny XS, each one a potential gravesite. Investigators followed Hansen to remote locations, eventually uncovering human remains at several of the marked spots. Confronted with overwhelming evidence, Hansen finally confessed. In a disturbingly calm voice, he recounted how he abducted women, forced them to strip, and gave them a brief head start before pursuing them like prey. He admitted to killing at least 17 women but hinted there could be more. In exchange for avoiding the death penalty, Hansen agreed to lead authorities to the burial sites. Guided by his map, teams uncovered numerous shallow graves scattered across the frozen Alaskan landscape. In 1984, Robert Hansen pleaded guilty to 4 murders and several kidnappings, rapes, and assaults. The court sentenced him to 461 years in prison without the possibility of parole, a sentence ensuring he would die behind bars. He was sent to Spring Creek Correctional Center in Seward, Alaska. There he lived out his days with no chance of release, dying in 2014 at the age of 75. The Hansen case left an indelible scar on Alaska. It exposed how vulnerable women, especially those living on society's margins, could disappear without anyone noticing. Yet no retelling can fully capture the terror those women endured as they ran through the dark, frozen woods, hearing the crunch of their killers' boots behind them. Robert Hansen's story is a chilling reminder that evil can wear the most ordinary mask. He was a baker who offered neighbors warm bread and a friendly smile, all while secretly transforming Alaska's breathtaking wilderness into a human hunting ground. When you hear of a polite neighbor, a hardworking small business owner, remember the lesson of Robert Hansen. He proved that a monster can live next door, hidden behind everyday kindness. The forests of Alaska still keep many of his secrets, but his crimes remain a warning. Sometimes, the most terrifying predators are not the ones lurking in the wild, but the ones who walk among us, blending in, until it's too late.